Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Today we're going to talk about my favorite faction in the game, the top 10 power ranked Force Affinity champions, the video that you've all been waiting for. Seriously, guys, Force Affinity is my favorite. I actually got my start in kind of, well, I can't even call it a gotcha game, but a game that had affinities or colors in Magic the Gathering way back in, I think, like the mid-90s. I started playing Magic when Ice Age came out, for any of you MTG enthusiasts out there. And they have like their 5 colors as well. And I liked red as well in Magic, right? And I like Force here in Raid. So it's something about kind of the 4 starting champions, they're all Magic Affinity. Something about having kind of that, I don't know, evil twist to a counter affinity just appeals to me, and I feel like those champions in Force Affinity, they kind of fit that motif as well in the game. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and rank my top 10. Quick disclaimer, as I always give you guys, this is just, in a vacuum, just having some fun here, not taking into consideration the artifacts you have, the other champions you have, where you're using these champions in the game. There's a number of factors that go into dictating how, strong a champion is in any game, obviously. So just having some fun here. Don't read too much into the rankings. But let's start with a champion that I feel like I have to include on this list. In Skullcrusher, he's a great champion overall. He's great for clan boss. He has his hard-hitting A1 defense base, but really he's known for his A2 with counterattack and ally protection on 3-turn cooldown. He's bringing a lot to the table and a lot of unique skills to the table. There's not that many epic champions, decent epic support champions with a 3-turn cooldown of ally protect, but the main feature of his kit is that counterattack. He also has that unkillable that can come in handy as well. So Skullcrusher just for counterattack teams, as we've said now for 2-3 years, however long it's been, there's only 3 champions still in the game, and there probably always will be. Raid Shadow Legends seem to be moving more, or Planarium, towards money. Ally attack as kind of that same sort of dynamic in ability versus the counterattack. So it's going to be Martyr, Valkyrie, and Skullcrusher. Who knows, forever in terms of having that AoE counterattack, although Skullcrushers does not apply to himself. Anyway, number 9 is going to be another OG champion in the game, and it's going to be Mausoleum Mage. So Mausoleum Mage is fantastic. A lot of newer players don't realize, you could argue this is a snub, having him at number 9, and by the way, there's going to be a lot of snubs. There's a lot of great Force Affinity champions in the game. He has decreased speed on his A1. I love that ability on an A1 of any champion in this game. He has increased crit rate, increased crit defense, bro. Increased defense and block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. This is an insanely good ability. Very, very good. I'll say it again. This is a very good ability for an epic champion, or even for a legendary champion. Having that increased defense and block debuffs on a 3-turn with the increased crit rate is very, very nice to have. And then we have a cleanse on a 4-turn cooldown. So we're removing all debuffs from all allies and then healing them after that. Man, this guy's just a monster, and he's pretty fast too. 104 base speed. Mausoleum Mage is truly still one of the best epics inside the game. Speaking of the best epics inside the game, we have 3 epics in a row here. Then we're going to move into legendaries. There is one more, actually make it 2 more epics though, on the list after Rector Drath. So Rector Drath, she is incredible. She was added this year, talking about fast champions. 109 base speed on this champion, guys. Really solid base stats pretty much across the board here. We have a decreased attack on the A1. I love decreased attack and decreased speed, as we just mentioned, on champions A1. You love to see it. And then she has all kinds of heals, guys, and veils, and perfect veils everywhere. Very, very good champion. She has a really nice revival here on a 4-turn cooldown with a perfect veil for 3 turns and a 60% turn meter. Not bad at all. So a great reviver, Force Affinity, great reviver and healer. In this passive here, it's great. We're getting heals all the time whenever a Veil or Perfect Veil ally gets a turn, and then we're also increasing resistance of allies under Veil and Perfect Veil by 50. And as we know, Perfect Veil mitigates 15%, and Veil mitigates 7.5% of AoE damage. So there's some damage reduction built into all those Veils, plus all those heals.
Watch your mouth, young man.
She's really good. All right, moving on, we have Skullcrusher, Mausoleum Mage, Rector, Drath. Let's go into the next one, and it's going to be our first legendary on the list, The only Dark Elf legendary that I do not own, and boy am I jealous of anybody who has Zavia or Zavia. Zavia or Zavia? Tomato, tomato. I go Zavia. Anyway, she has a poison on her A1 3-time hitter. On her A2, she has an AoE with more poisons times 2. 3-turn cooldown as well. And then this Deadly Catalyst ability, guys. It deals damage from all poison debuffs to the target instantly. It's dealing half damage, but that's enough to make some of the fastest speed runs inside this entire game. Boy, do I wish I had Zavia. Maybe the next 10-time event, I will be a sucker in pull if there ever is one in the future for Zavia. The next one I do have, by the way, guys, Canderfon, a big snub. I talked about a lot of snubs on today's list. You know, a lot of champions like Gerptuck and Canderfon, I left off the list because they're very one-dimensional. Canderfon really used in the arena. However, you know, you can make the case that maybe instead of, say, Sicia, he belongs there. But I do prefer, personally, Sicia Flametongue. I think she's great all around, great in many different dungeons. Any boss that is either Affinity, you know, good matchup, Magic Affinity, or Force Affinity, or any matchup that you need that HP burn champion. She can do some tremendous things against Spider, especially. She basically leads off with this A3, right? Does a lot of damage, puts some HP burn on the enemies, and then grants an extra turn. She places an HP burn debuff on all enemies. So immediately she's bringing this from a 4 to a 3-turn cooldown vis-a-vis that extra turn, and then boom, she goes into her A2, an AoE attack with weaken and decreased defense if at least 2 enemies are under HP burn, and then she's instantly activating HP burn debuffs on those targets. She also has a 3-time hitter on her A1. She does some tremendous things in terms of her synergy and overall damage as it pertains to HP burn, so she's really tremendous and unique in a lot of ways. Big fan of Sicia Flametongue, can you tell? Next up, we're getting into the top 5 here, guys. I decided to put an old school champion here coming in at number 5, and it's Rhazin Scarhide. I still think he's a really good champion. His glaring weakness, and we talked about this when we made our rebuilding Rhazin video last week, is his speed, man. That 91 speed, I wish they would do what they did to Robar and Solus to Rhazin Scarhide. He is a permanent fusion inside the game, and personally, I think that speed at around 96 would be more appropriate. I don't want to go crazy, but I do think that if speed was bumped up just a little bit, it would make him tremendously even more viable in the late game. Right now, he scales, he's a god in the early, in the mid game, when most people unlock him vis-a-vis that fusion. However, in the end game, he's still incredibly good, but you don't see him on, you know, many of the best teams.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Does every champion need to be on the best teams, Ash? No, I guess they don't. So I stand corrected. Either way, he's a little slow. So a 3-time hitter on the A1. On the A2, he's a decreased defense and weaken. Tremendous for bosses. You're applying 2 of the best damage increasing debuffs in the game. And then an AoE full turn meter reduction on the A3. 6-turn cooldown, but still a tremendous ability. Boy, his kit is really, really good. Every time I look at it, a lot of defense's damage is based off defense as well. Yeah, I don't regret putting him 5 on the list. Am I a sucker? What do you guys think? All right, so going in to number 4, this is one of the last 2. We have 2 epics in the top 4 of Force Affinity, and it's going to be Geomancer, guys. Geomancer really changed the game when we talk about HP burners. I'm ranking him even higher than Sicia Flametongue. That seems crazy to me, but I stand by. An AoE on his A1 with decreased accuracy. I really love that A1, a 50% chance, or 40, excuse me, of landing that decreased accuracy on all enemies just on his A1. Really, really cool part of his kit that is often overlooked because the rest of it is so good as well. On his A2, we're stealing all buffs instead, or removing, stealing if they're under HP burn. And we're reducing the cooldown of his A3, which we'll talk about in just a moment, if the target is killed by this skill while under an HP burn. So a little bit difficult to actually get that part of the ability to proc, but still 3-turn cooldown. It's a very, very good ability. But Quicksand Grasp is what it's all about here. Well, I guess it's all about his passive. We'll get to that in a moment. He's fully depleting a turn meter. He's filling this champion turn meter by the amount the target loses, and then, which is better than a flat-out turn meter steal, when you're fully depleting and then stealing that. And then we have a 100% chance of placing an HP burn and a weaken for 3 turns. So a 3-turn HP burn on a 3-turn cooldown. All right, and then on the A3, we have decreases the damage all allies receive by 15% and deflects that damage onto each enemy under an HP burn debuff placed by this champion. Long story short, it deals an insane amount of damage. All right, we're moving into the top 3 here, guys. And number 3 is going to be the other epic inside our top 5, and it is Doompriest. Doompriest is still an OG queen of debuff removal. On this passive, heals all allies by 7.5% of their max HP, or their HP, excuse me, and removes 1 random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. I love putting her in relentless artifacts, guys. We talked about this in yesterday's video, or the day before that. My favorite champions to put in my favorite artifact set, Relentless Gear. Check that video out in case you missed it. But really, Doompriest is amazing. Every turn, if you get those double turns, you're getting a double heal and removing another debuff. Either way, you just make her very fast. She's a solid base speed at 1000. She's easy to keep alive, and she's Force Affinity. You can use her against almost every boss in the game. A great kind of built-in unique cleanser, and that skill, that passive skill, cannot be put on cooldown. So tremendous champion overall. Moving into number 2. 2 champions left, guys. Can you guess? I know another honorable mention I just want to say, guys. It pained me. And she's not even a Bannerlord, Ash. Sacred Order, bruh. Pained me to leave Abyss off the list, man. I love her. I think her and Fushan, who, in case you missed my level 4 Fushan video, that was fun too. They're both great nukers, but again, very one-dimensional. They're just a nuker. They're great nukers, but they're just nukers.
This is not true. This is not true at all.
With a little bit of debuff in their kit. They're, you know, a little bit more than just a nuker, but I don't know. So anyway, guys, here we go. Drexthar Bloodtwin. He is number 2. Tempting to go number 1 on Drexthar. The cool thing is everybody has access to Drexthar. He has an AoE provoke, chance increases HP burn, and also decrease attack if the provoke was landed. Deals a decent amount of damage to his defense base. I put him in lifesteal gear, and really it's just all about the passive again on this champion. Some really strong passives that we're highlighting here in today's video. So we have a 70% chance of, or it's actually a 75% chance, sorry, of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns on the attacker when he's hit. That's insane. So he deals so much damage just by being hit, and he's defense based, so we can take a punch. He's Force Affinity based, so going against, you know, these hard-hitting Doom Tower bosses that are Magic Affinity or Force Affinity is not an issue for Drexthar Bloodtwin. And again, on that A1, this is crucial. You can put Giant Slayer Mastery on him, and that Giant Slayer proc is going to help in healing him off of the lifesteal if you have that on, or if you don't even have the lifesteal on, it's going to help in healing with this ability. Heals his champion by 20% of the damage inflicted if the target is under HP burn. So again, that 30% or 20% heal can be massive because of the Giant Slayer off of that 3-time hit on the A1. Drexthar Bloodtwin is a great champion. All right, next up is going to be number 1, and it is Bad El Khazar. BEK killer with an AoE and a heal on his A1. His Malice ability removes all debuffs from all allies. We get 2 continuous heals. We get 2 poisons on every single enemy on a 3-turn cooldown. That's his only active ability. His passive is all allies inflict 20% more damage against targets under poison debuffs. I mean, for a clan boss, this really adds up, and really anywhere else in the game, it's just going to, you know, well, make everybody take 20% more damage because he's dishing out so many poisons himself, you know, at least more often than not. Obviously, your first hit on the enemies, they might not have those poisons up yet, but Bad El Khazar, man, his base stats are all there. A lot of HP, a lot of defense, fast champion as well. I think that this ability, Malice, the cleanse, the heals, the poisons, on a 3-turn cooldown is definitely in the running for the most powerful ability overall inside the game. I put it right up there with, I don't know, what do you think? Valkyrie's A2. I put it right up there with, I'm sure I'm forgetting like so many insane abilities. Siphi's A2. I put it up there with, what other like tremendously, Tomb Lord's ability? I'm missing one though. Oh, you know what? Rio Bone Spear has a couple like insanely good abilities as well. Now, why am I going on such a tangent to end the video here, guys? There we go. Bad El Khazar. Lydia Death Siren has, I think, the best ability in the game. I'm right back to it. I can't save myself from myself, guys. I can't do it. But yeah, man, Lydia's A2, right? Come on, dude. The decreased defense, the weaken, the strengthen, and the increased speed on 3-turn cooldown with an AoE attack. That's pretty good. This is like a whole new bonus video for you guys built into this video. Is this cool or what? Rewarding you guys who watch all the way till the end with another list of the best abilities in the game. I'm getting off on a tangent here, guys, but let me know in the comments below, which affinity should I do next? Do you want to see my top 10 power ranking champions, every rarity included? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching all the way till the end, and as always, take care, guys.